Dialogue in that, and you know everything. With everything going on, it is just brilliant.
Thank you.
I have to
Thank you
tell
to
you.
Justin, thank you to Josh and Z and Mike and Amy and everybody.
And your film editors, everything, and putting a scene, Resner and Ross, the score, that pulsating score throughout it, is innovative in and of itself for this. That was the kind of sound you wanted throughout this.
Yeah, I thought the movie was, while we were doing it, I felt that the movie was unapologetic in its entertainment, in the way in which Justin conceived it. And I think that being European, I have no sense of inferiority toward the concept of entertainment. I actually think it's the best thing you can do, to create some sort of emotions through your work.
Right.
And so when we were doing it, I felt the movie had this energy, this kinetic energy that was driven by these characters and their fucked up existences and their need to be together and the need to be mean to one another and then to make love to one another. And which happens to be something that you do in life. And I was more and more convinced that this was like bombastic energy movie. So I called Trent and Atticus and I said, hey guys, I think for this one we should go house music, like if we are in a rave party. And they went, okay. And then 2 months later, Amy and I, we were at their fantastic studio here in Hollywood and they said, play. And we were like, what the fuck?
Jaw-dropping. Yeah. But it was all Luca's idea. They're like, really? You want rave music in this movie? And he's like, yeah. And then they were so, like he does with everyone. He pushes everyone to do things that they can't possibly think they can do, and then they do.
Amy, talk about how this came about. You got a hold of the script, or how did this start?
Yep, we read Justin's script, and I'll say what I loved about the script so much is that it's about 3 people who desperately don't want something to happen, and they spend all these years fearing that this will happen, and then it does, and they're okay. And I think that's a really wonderful, unusual thing to make a movie about, because it's such a human experience that we spend our whole lives being scared of something, and then the actual event comes about and you learn you can survive it. And for all the various things that Challengers is about, that was one of the things that really touched me when I first read it. And then of course I called Luca and said, now what?
Justin, how did this idea come upon you? Do you play tennis? Are you part of that world?
No, not really. I played as a kid, and I was not very good.
Nobody played tennis who made this movie.
Not a single person.
Single person.
I didn't know anything about it, and I know nothing about it now.
I'll tell you the moment I knew that Luca was the perfect director for this is he had just read the script and we were talking on the phone, and Luca said, I know next to nothing about tennis, but I know a great deal about desire.
Oh.
And that was...
Applause for desire out there.
And that was very much true of me as well, until one day I was watching the US Open and I just happened to turn it on because it was happening. And there was this match between Serena Williams and Naomi Osaka in the final. And there was this very controversial call where Serena Williams was accused of receiving coaching from the sidelines. And not being a massive tennis fan, I had never heard this rule, but immediately it struck me as this intensely cinematic situation. That you're all alone on the court, and there's this one other person in this massive stadium who cares as much about what happens to you as you do, but that's the person you can't talk to. And so I started to think, well, what if you really needed to talk about something? And what if it was something beyond tennis? What if it was about the two of you? And what if it somehow included the person on the other side of the net? How could you have that conversation? And how could you communicate the tension of that using the tools of film? And that was really the spark.
Wow. Well, it certainly works. Maybe it pays not to know the world you're writing in and find something much deeper, that people don't realize. Now, Josh, since we've established nobody on this panel except me plays tennis, I have to really congratulate you. How did you train for this? How did you do it? Because you are uber convincing in this role.
Well, I have LUCA to thank for a lot of that, and so I'm doing our cinematographer. But no, I think we worked really hard, is the truth. You know, we had a sort of boot camp of playing tennis with Brad Gilbert, our coach, who's a brilliant coach. And every day we'd go to this centre and we'd work out and we'd play tennis. To be fair, we should say that Mike Feist is a great player.
Oh, that's true. He can
He
play.
really can play. And
But you were thrilled. They all
I would
learned
say
to play for them.
Mike is 95% on screen what he does with tennis. You're like 75, which is
Yeah.
good.
that's good, yeah, thanks. It's creeping up. But no.
And then it's 80.
Yeah. No, me and Z on the first day of coming to this coaching centre, I caught Zendaya's eyes looking at the racket like that. And she looked up and caught my eyes, and I was figuring out if I was left or right-handed. And trying to that feels good. And then Brad being, saying, that's not how you do it. But it was I think so much of the work in the boot camp was, yes, trying to understand playing tennis to the best of your ability. But truthfully, it was more, I've never worked out to that extent in my life. And all of the confidence that brought, and working to that level so much, that was all about, well, for me it felt like LUCA leading me to this place of Patrick Zweig being full of confidence and, forthright and things that I kind of didn't necessarily pick up on early on. So they were the more important aspects of that.
Yeah, amazing. LUCA, in terms of